Hi, I'm Terrance L. Bankston, and we're here in the South Ward on Chancellor Avenue, just across the street from Weekway High School. And just behind us is a community center that I pretty much grew up in when I was going to Maple Avenue School, and also going there after school, even when we were in high school, the Greater Life Camp. We're here today to talk about the public safety plan for not only our campaign, but most importantly, our plan to help better lead the South Ward. And part of that is introducing the South Ward Social Justice and Diversity Academy. And so before we get into that, I want to talk to you a little bit about what the work we have done over the past 3 years. So over the past 3 years, we've invested thousands of hours canvassing not just in the South Ward, yet every ward around the city, in every community of our beloved city. We spent most of the time canvassing and surveying residents right here in the South Ward of Newark. We asked them about their experience in terms of their quality of life. We asked about their voting habits. We asked about and documented their concerns, as we also asked them about public policy-based questions, such as voter term limits, and also whether or not they wanted an elected or appointed board. Over 1,200 engagements and responses came in citywide, and majority of those came from the South and the West wards. Over the past 2 years, I've worked with Bloomfield College to rejuvenate their student life and establish their Black Lives Matter campaign. We also did this collaboration with their student government leader, who's also from Newark. Big shout out to Kyle Smith, and also with the support of our president, Dr. Marquita Evans. Together, we were able to help students both on campus and who were remote and hybrid to navigate and strive in and out, virtual and hybrid classrooms.
And so I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the many areas involved in these efforts. We have Terrence Bankston, from the Center for Student Leadership Engagement. Thank you and your teams for everything you have done in the weeks and months leading up to today.
We partnered with the Township of Bloomfield and their school board to establish the first Juneteenth celebration in 2021. And then recently I was tapped by a major university right here in Essex County as a finalist to lead their Social Justice and Diversity Department. Then it hit me. All of these years that I've been investing this talent, not just around our city, around our county, but as a consultant and sometimes a full-time employee for many different agencies. Why are we not investing that energy and that time right here in the South Ward? And so versus waiting until the top of the year, we wanted to announce the Social Justice and Diversity Academy right now, because the South Ward is experiencing disparities at a historical rate right now. Social justice is what many residents are pleading for. It's what this younger generation needs to be taught about, and as they prepare to go off into high school, after high school, how to best advocate for themselves and become a productive citizen. It's important through the Social Justice Center that we'll launch right here in the South Ward, right at the top of the year, that it's there for not just younger people and to teach the next generation and the next generation and engage them meaningful right now, but it's also to help prepare all residents, our seniors, our young adult leaders, our current leaders who are in positions that still need that type of training and education in terms of social justice and what we're dealing with in our community. And so this is all about preparing our city, our residents, our South Ward to truly function in a multicultural and global society. At any rate, sadly and next, we experienced what was supposed to be a festive Thanksgiving weekend, spent with family and friends. But sadly, that turned brutal and bloody. Several South Ward residents were shot, 2 were children, and 1 man was murdered assassination style. Violence overall has become a public health crisis, particularly in the South Ward. This is aided or enabled by the blatant absence and neglect and disregard of just certain elected officials. And this is not limited to just our local, it's the county and the state as well. The South Ward needs all hands on deck. The South Ward needs new energy. Their out of sight and out of mind approach leadership contributes to the diminishing quality of the South Ward and their residents. The shameful lack of meaningful and quality recreation program, the inadequate public school education, and our declining public property value are directly correlated to the exposure of violent crime. The increase in violent crime in Newark, now outpacing the statewide average, continues to permeate our ward without consistent and committed leadership, particularly in our South Ward director level and also coming from our ward council seat. That has to change in 2022, and we have the power to change it. Many South Ward residents know that what has contributed to the steady increase in crime within the South Ward over the past 5 years has been the special interest downtown fighting and spending thousands of dollars to keep elected officials in office who are not engaged and in tune with our community. These are not new issues. This is not a time where we've been waiting until we get elected to take action. We didn't wait until election time to take action. We've been lending our compassion, our skills, and our talents to be helpful versus hurtful to our community. So with that, we have a 5-point plan to help lead the ward. Improving senior engagement and the relationship between schools and families. Developing a more collaborative approach with the police department to really combat crime. Working to better neighborhood services. That is a top priority. Ensuring that they have the resources that they need. And the council has the ability to appropriate funds based on the needs of the community. Addressing the infrastructure issues that lead to flooding in our community. And promoting environmental justice advocacy. I'm here with Malika McCall. Malika is not just an entrepreneur, but she's from the South Ward, a businesswoman, and I want to give her a chance to talk a little bit about why she's here today.
It's Malika McCall, business owner in the city of Newark. The name of my company is Giving It a Woman's Touch Painting and Janitorial Service. So I'm the executive director of a nonprofit, Team Resurrection. We're a community outreach program where we help, we service seniors, we service the youth in various low-income areas. A problem that I've been having is the lack of inclusion. They say there's a lot of money out here and there's a lot of help out here for small business owners. Over the years, I have gotten many certifications and everything just to be included. And yet again, everybody knows who I am when they need me. But when there's time to disperse opportunities, I'm nowhere to be found. They can't find me. Justice Academy, I feel like they're the people that hears me and will be able to help me with the problems I have and help direct me, because me doing it alone, I can't do it. So I really need the support of the Social Justice Academy. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad that Terrance is one of the people who has listened to me over the years, and this is why I strongly support Terrance. So I thank you for just letting me say my little piece. And
the other great thing about Malika, she has grandchildren that she's also rearing, and she's an engaged grandma, not just an active businesswoman. And so having a place where her grandchildren can go and learn a lot of the things that made her a productive citizen will be great, while she can still develop her business and develop her leadership skills as well. The other thing we're excited about is that she has a daughter who's in law enforcement.
Yes.
And so this is being able to get an expert, not just a mentor, to come back and help us in this line. And so these are the type of partnerships and collaborations that we're forming in the now to make it better in the now and also greater in the future.
Time is up. The South Ward needs Terrence Bankston. New leadership, new change.
The Social Justice and Diversity, which is important, and Diversity Academy is about preparing all residents, not just the younger generation, but it's also understanding that that's who we need to instill. Well, we want to be a part of the solution and not the problem, but also, you know, we're reared often in our community to say that the game, we call it the game, is meant to be sold and not to be told, and I beg to differ. I think that if we are blessed enough to have the opportunity to have experiences and exposure and skills learned, that we should share those, especially with our people from our community who may not have had the same opportunities. And so that's a part of what the Social Justice and Diversity Academy is all about. Providing and sharing information, but recognizing the fact that we have the talent pool right here in our own community, and through collaboration, we can't just say in unity there is strength. You have to live that thing. And so that's a part of what the Academy is about, and really putting a focus on aligning where we are today as a community. It's not circumventing culture. It's not embracing it as it is either, but it's saying that we're not afraid to go through it, and that we are also a part of it. And part of that culture is we're not used to collaborating. We're not used to trusting. We're used to, particularly because of politics in our town, living in certain silos. But the biggest issue outside of that is that we're not teaching younger people how to engage, how to live, how to be productive citizens. We've taken civics out of classes. Most of their encounters with government, whether it's police, law, any other type of law enforcement, the courts, or even administrators, is usually a negative connotation. And that's not always been the South Ward. And so the social justice and diversity, which is important, and Diversity Academy is about preparing our residents, not just the younger generation, but it's also understanding that that's who we need to instill. So we're talking about a male center, male empowerment center, a woman empowerment center. Why are both important? Often you can go to college campuses and you can go to certain orgs and they'll have women empowerment centers, not male empowerment centers. How can men learn how to treat women if you're not teaching them that? And so the same type of empowerment opportunities are needed for our young and older men. And then we bring those groups together so that we can discuss differences, no different than race relations and many other things that are used in our community, right? Not just our world, but our community, to separate us where there's more things that unite us. The goals of the Social Justice and Diversity Academy, that's going to start out here in the South Ward, but definitely not in here, is really about fostering transformation and leadership development. And again, not just in young people, but in people, period, because we all have deficits in that regard. Then the second goal is about enhancing the governmental or the civic engagement. We need to prepare folks to be productive citizens, and we only do what we know. And so if we're not taught it, or if it's not made available to us, whether it's now or later, how will we ever do different? And then the third is really about just restoring the reputation of the mighty South Ward. We can't keep saying mighty South Ward, and we've allowed it to deteriorate to what it is. And so that is when I really tap into the spirit of former Mayor Sharp James, because he was that champion for us. You guys know he came in after Kim Gibson, after the riots, and really was a champion, and followed by Donald Payne. That type of integrity, that type of leadership, that type of commitment is what we need. Donald Tucker, those are South Warders who really fought hard for us. And so that's what this is about, teaching our residents, again, younger and older, who may not know about those stories, that we've had greatness here before and we can have greatness again. And the greatness really is with them. I want young people, I want the people of the South Ward to shine in their best star, regardless of what we're doing. And that's part of the work we're going to do through the South Ward Social Justice and Diversity Academy. Learning from the mistakes of the past. For the past, I believe it was 10, 11 years or so, we haven't had any real relationship between the nonprofits and our council office, which is a first in many generations. That relationship between the community and our council office in the South Ward, and that relationship between our council and the mayor, is all important. And it can't be about control. It has to be about collaboration and about pushing our ward forward. We're the best of the best. And we can't continue to be last to receive things. And that doesn't mean that we want to take away from other communities. We just believe that there can be fairness across our city. But surely the largest ward, and for the politicians out there, the largest voter base in the state of New Jersey, has to be important and valuable to you. And if it's not, then this is the year we stand up and say that it will be. And that we're only going to put people in office to represent us who care about us. And you're not going to just say you do, but you're going to show that you do. The specifications for the Social Justice and Diversity Academy, particularly for the South Ward, there are 5, and they are very important. One is about a focus on women empowerment and understanding what that really means. The other is about male empowerment and understanding what that really means. And like I said before, often you can go to institutions, whether they're higher learning or other orgs, and there are women empowerment forums and orgs, but not necessarily a focus or a center on male empowerment, perhaps programs, but not a center. And I believe we have to have programs that teach young men how to treat our women in general. The third is a focus around multiculturalism. We are a different city. And to be true, we've always been a multicultural city, but we're living in a multicultural society, and we need to prepare our residents, particularly our young people, to be able to function at the peak of their potential in this multicultural global society. So it's about they call it ableism, not being an enabler to racism, not being an enabler to policies that affect our disabled, not being an enabler to voter disenfranchisement. The LGBTQ plus community, which is really large and significant and really a historical group here in Newark, but haven't really been heard or a focus. They perhaps have been used for votes, but not a focus. And so those different areas, all of these different cultural festivities throughout the year, whether it's Women's History Month, Cancer Awareness Month, Kwanzaa, Hispanic Heritage Month, Black History Month, these things need to become a part of the fabric of our community. This prepares our young people. This encourages the older folks, the elders of our community, to not just remain encouraged and remain engaged, but to continue to be role models and examples for those generations to come. And so that's a part of that particular arm. And then we have the civics and governmental affairs arm. We know that civics have been taken out of our schools, particularly in most urban centers. And so if we don't teach our young people, particularly people of color, about governments, about civics, how would they become productive citizens? However, would they know how to best advocate for themselves to effectively make change versus always war, or knowing the difference between a physical fight and a fight about that involves courage and using your words and being able to write your way into a better circumstance. Those things are all important. Those are things that help rear me. And while none of us are perfect, we know that focusing on the whole person and character building is important. The last pillar is focused around environmental justice. The South Ward, like I said, the Social Justice Academy is so on time for the South Ward because there's so much disparity in this ward. To have some of the most amazing and strongest and the most Black leadership to come from the South Ward, and for us to be so far behind, I think it's just, it's not about a fault or a blame, but it's next to deplorable. And so we don't get bitter, we get better. And so that's what, the Social Justice and Diversity Academy will help to do. Bridge the generation gap, fill the void, not wait for folks to recorrect the mistakes of the past, to put back things in our schools that can better our young people and better our parents and really bring about and cultivate real community engagement. And so those are the pillars or the specifications that we are focused on and that we are committed to, because we know that those are the things that are needed in real time. Definitely today. Again, we are living in a different South Ward and a different North. 72% of us are under the age of 45 years old. We are a young city, yet we operate as if it was 50 years ago. And so again, the specifications is about building, not just building leaders, but building and enhancing, building character and enhancing citizenship. The main focus areas in terms of helping the South Ward for the Social Justice and Diversity Academy is our commitments. Our commitment is to collaborate, to educate, and also to empower. And then our motivational factors, which will be on a daily basis, is recruitment, retention, and successful outcomes. And if we focus on that, there's nothing that we cannot accomplish, but also we will do even better at empowering all the other nonprofits who are doing great work and offering great services to citizens as well. So in terms of the two things that we will primarily focus on to help the community, the South Ward Social Justice and Diversity Academy will focus on, first of all, our commitment, which will be collaboration, education, and empowerment. And then our daily motivations, which will be recruitment, retention, and positive outcomes. For the South Ward, betterment unfolds today.
We support Terrence Bankston.
Join us on the right side of history. The answers to a lot of our problems. Quality of life, not just those that live in a home in the South Ward or live in a home around the city, those of you that are waiting for your breakthrough, it is the responsibility of the leaders of your community.
This goes out to everybody.